Wait, did you bust out the old music, Pour Moi?
No, it was an accident, actually.
It was.
I didn't mean to.
That's not true. You are just thrilled that I am back.
Are you back?
I actually flew all the way back.
Here. I don't know if he's
That's
back.
true. I'm not back. I actually flew all the way back from Paris for this show.
Yeah, that's not true.
No.
Yeah, that's correct. Can I tell you something? I was in Paris for 3 months.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm hoping to go back for another couple of months.
Good.
We'll find out. But it was very. It was a very. Thank you. It's nice to be wanted. Very exciting. The coolest thing I did in 3 months in Paris was not just eat my way through the whole goddamn city. Because, let me tell you something with Paris. By the way,
The food, right?
okay, you know what? Here's the thing. As we go into 17 different tangents, and maybe we'll talk about Blu-rays like in hour 6 of this podcast, because I have all sorts of stories. Yeah. What I'm saying is that we, as Americans, we put additives and preservatives in our food that are illegal in France.
Yes.
Right?
Properly so.
And that's the right thing to do.
You know, it's funny, at the recently concluded Colcoa, where I moderated 2 events and was on the jury again.
That's great, Wade. That's great, Wade.
I did a bit with Melanie Laurent, did a Q&A with Melanie Laurent, who has a new film, and we covered her old film. And she talked about how the fact that all French films, people are always eating, and American films people never eat.
Well, because we're always dieting,
Yeah.
and yet we're always fat.
Yes, and they are not. So it's true.
Well, here's the thing: they walk a lot, and also they're not scared of food. They eat proportionally. Like Americans just stuff their fat effing gullet with crap all day long, just like eating Doritos at their desk and that kind of stuff. The French don't do that.
No.
You know, they have a little bit of protein, some vegetables, a lot of bread.
Yeah.
They have a cheese course. Now, my girlfriend, who is not a rich person, right, has a cheese course. Now, it could just be 2 pieces of cheese. It doesn't have to be like this whole highfalutin Barry Lyndon thing. I made that up. I'm not sure what that meant. What I'm saying is they have a cheese course and then they have dessert. Now, dessert could just be like a thing of pudding. It doesn't have to be much, but they do it, and they're not afraid of food. The portions are reasonable. The food is healthier, better made. It was fantastic. And by the way, yes, Tim?
It's butter and not margarine.
Yeah,
Oh,
nice.
it's all butter. It's all butter. And by the way, I went to Brittany.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's from Brittany,
Yeah.
and Brittany is known for their pastries. And they're known for the fact that they're not just pastries, it's basically sculpted butter. There is so much butter in these pastries that make them unbelievably delicious. So how come they can eat sculpted butter every morning for breakfast and not get fat?
I don't know, but you know what else Brittany's known for? Their spears.
I see. I was going to try to. It didn't work. Okay, here's the coolest thing I did. You ready? Yeah. So what I did is I actually taught. Now get this. I taught a 3-hour masterclass in unscripted television production at Luc Besson's film school. Now Luc Besson.
Yeah, that makes you a Netflix employee now?
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I told him not to pay me. So I did it for free. So Luke's got this film school, which by the way is free. Film school is free.
This is awesome, actually.
Because don't
And I
forget.
usually like to make fun of him. I can't actually make fun of that.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Because don't forget, Luke was rejected from film school, and his revenge, he was rejected, and his revenge was to start his own film school when he became, whatever, older and richer and more famous, and he would have it for free. Now, of course, there's a vetting process, a big-time vetting process, but once you're in, it's free. Anyway, next to the film school is this huge production facility where he shoots all of his movies and all of his TV shows until Valerian came out.
Yeah.
And then suddenly...
It's all done.
Who has it, Wade? Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix now.
So I taught a 3-hour masterclass. I was very proud of myself, Wade.
Yeah.
Tim, very proud of myself. Tim, I did a 54-page PowerPoint. 54. I can't even count to 54. And I did a 54-page PowerPoint. And there not a lot of kids in the class, maybe 20. Yeah. And a third of them spoke great English. A third of them spoke okay English. And the other third either spoke no English or didn't give a crap what I was saying. And they said nothing. But it was like, no, here's the thing. Wade Major, Tim Cogshell, these guys are actual teachers. They stand in front of students regularly, and they say smart things.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Tim does.
Well, I tell them the stuff you told me.
I've never done this before. And it was like performance art.
Yes.
You've got to entertain these kids for 3 hours and make sure they don't zone out.
And that's what it is, really. You know, the thing that you told me, though, we were talking about this earlier, you gave them that choice about, in that last 20 minutes, the social media or hard news. What do you want to talk about? And I think the choice they went with is interesting.
Well, what happened was that I had this whole thing timed out, right? And the first hour and a half before the first half before the break, I did great. I was right on time, PowerPoint, riveting. Look at Mark telling stories, telling lies, doing what he does. When the second half, I got behind. And with about 20 minutes left, I said to these kids, I go, look, you French idiots, I have a question for you. I didn't say that part. But I said, look, we have 20 minutes left. You have a choice. We could either talk about online video production, producing for Snapchat and Facebook and all those stupid things I don't even use and don't care about, even though I was executive producer of new media at E for 11 years. We could talk about that, or we could talk about how to produce a news program, a live news program. And I thought for sure, because they're young whippersnappers who are hip with the kids, and they are the kids, that they would for sure go with new media production. That's what they would want. Why wouldn't they? They're all on Snapchat. They're all on Twitter. They're all on whatever the hell. They all said, we'd rather hear about news.
And I'm absolutely certain that would not have happened here in the United States of America.
Never.
I'm certain it wouldn't have happened. For one thing, I'm not sure if they have, and that, I did want you to do a little reporting on the Me Too thing. You were telling me, Mark, that the Me Too thing isn't the same there. They don't really have it. I mean, there's some issues, but they don't have it.
They don't understand it.
No, Me Too has always meant. Look, when that large group of French women, including Catherine Deneuve, came out and just said, "Oh, get over yourselves with your Me Too."
Yeah, they have to take that back, though.
But kind of. But the thing is, French society is. We all know what French movies are about. Me Too means, hey, I want in. Me too. Make it a threesome. That's what Me Too means in France.
But that's interesting to me, and that they are apparently not having the fake news moment that we're having here in America. Thus, that they wanted to actually talk about the news.
They want to talk about the news. You know what? It's not. Well, you know what? Because they're generally speaking better educated. Like they take education more seriously. My girlfriend's daughter is 5 years old. And she is just so smart. She already speaks English and German and French.
Really?
Yes.
At 5?
Yes. It's bizarre.
I got to get my daughter on the ball.
Where
she can count in French.
It's bizarre. I mean, she's not.
And she does. Honestly, my daughter also does sign language.
She's not fluent. And by the way, can I say something about the French?
Yeah.
First of all, they're annoying. Okay. Here's the thing with the French.
Smart but annoying.
They really are. Here's the thing. I was sitting. Okay, there's a couple things about France I don't understand. First of all the garbage cans in France. They got the blue one. They got the green one. They got the regular one. I don't know what garbage to put in what colored bin. I just started to throw crap away. I let somebody else sort it out. That annoyed me. Also, I was sitting at the table with my girlfriend, the daughter, and my girlfriend's mother. We were having soup. And I made the cardinal sin, punishable by excommunication, death, whatever, of slurping my soup. Now, I was told that in French society, slurping your soup is literally punishable by death. And I did not know that.
I'm not sure I ever knew that either, but it explains a lot from when I lived there. So,
and here's the thing, though. The moment they tell you that, I'm like, I'm just not going to have soup anymore.
Yeah.
Because if the soup is hot, I'm going to want to slurp it because I want it to gently enter my mouth. So I'm like, why don't I just not eat soup and just not get into that situation?
all right.
Well, no, what can I tell you?
So the French, they love their social norms. That's really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right? The French, by the way, not very friendly when you meet them. People think the French are rude. It's not that they're rude. Well, it is that they're rude because they're jerks. But what I'm saying is that the French, you have to get to know them. They are not like Americans are big and blustery and loud, and they'll tell you the life story in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
In France, they don't do that. No. You have to get to know them. Now, once you get to know them and you break that, you break into that, they will give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah.
Often in public. But what I'm saying is that it's not that they're rude. It's just that they're not giving of themselves until they get to know you and have met you a couple times. Yeah. I've noticed that. Yeah. Now, do you agree with that, Wade Major?
I think I'd agree with that. Although I think your experience is in Paris, and Paris is very different from other parts of France. Parisians are viewed askew in many respects. But well, good to know. Well, from that, let's just segue to a quick mention of Cocoa again.
Yeah.
Where we gave our top award to Le Brio. Mark, have you heard about Le Brio?
I have not. However, I did see. I went to the Cocoa premiere gala, the one with the movie about the guy who wrote the book. What was that?
You went here?
Yeah,
a week ago.
Yes,
you were there.
Yes. Were you there?
Funny. No, I wasn't there. I was watching it at home.
I had a feeling you weren't there. Otherwise, obviously, I would have.
About the Charlotte Gainsbourg thing.
Correct.
Yeah. See, now I'm drawing a blank on the title. But yeah, that was originally a Jules Dassin film in 1970. Did you know that?
That would have been super cool because that guy's life was unbelievable. And Jules Dassin would have knocked. I love him. He directed Rafifi and right. So anyway, I was there because my girlfriend works in the French film music industry. And there were a lot of French film music executives in town for Cocoa, and she wrangled herself an invite to the gala premiere of that movie, whatever it's called, French Fa Fa Fa, I don't know what it's called. And here's the thing: all I cared about really was the food, because they give you free food when you're at these galas.
Yeah,
and that's all I care about. I ate a lot of food. It's fantastic because I'm unemployed. I'm not working. I'm traipsing around France. I'm not working. I'm unemployed. I need free food.
Yes, well, you know.
So
what's your favorite meal there?
Huh?
What was your favorite meal there?
Oh, it was just all just pastries. I would just walk. You know what? I would have lunch. Mm-hmm. I would walk down some random French street and see. Oh, that looks good. Let's get that. And boy, am I full. That
Promise
thing
at dawn.
That's it.
Yeah.
That thing was delicious. Let me just have that. And then I'd walk maybe another 45 seconds, and I would say, "Oh my God, that looks good too. I'll just have to have that."
Did you like Promise at Dawn?
Not really. Did you?
I thought it was a bit shrill.
It was a bit shrill.
And I wanted to smack her, but as an overbearing mother.
But that director, I feel like
Eric Barbier.
The thing with the film is that everything was so outsized.
He's made 5 films in 27 years. You know that.
He's like Terrence Malick.
Yeah.
Without the talent.
Yeah. Well,
no,
he does big epic movies.
It was a little too over the top. It was a little too over the top for me.
No, Le Brio is really great, by the way, and we'll move on with a few other things quickly. Le Brio is Daniel Auteuil and newcomer Camelia Jordana in what is kind of like The Paper Chase meets Pygmalion set against racial and religious politics in France. Basically, a young French law student played by Camelia Jordana, who's of Algerian descent, who is in this giant law class, first day of law school, with the professor, played by Daniel Auteuil, who basically is just a cynical, sarcastic, racist bastard who just starts making all kinds of anti-Arab comments. And long story short, he winds up having to train her for a debate competition, a rhetoric competition. And, you get the usual thing. But it's really sharp, and she's great, and he's great, and... there's some very Archie Bunkery jokes in there where you laugh, you feel like you shouldn't, but it's letting off steam and it's cathartic and it works. Where he puts a pen in her mouth to get her to enunciate more correctly. She kind of pauses and he says, "It's okay, it's halal." I mean, come on, right?
Okay, I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
None of this works in English.
It doesn't. But you know what? In French, it's great.
But that's that thing that we were talking about before. And it's funny. It's becoming more and more distinct.
Yeah.
These sort of cultural divides.
Yeah.
Frankly, not just the French in America, Canada.
Yeah.
South of the border. Some of the Latin films we've seen lately.
Yep.
I've seen some Latin films lately that simply couldn't get made in the United States of America.
True.
Interesting stuff.
And then we gave our second award to C'est la vie, which is the new film by Olivier Nakache and Eric Toledano, who did the fantastic
Star Wars.
No, with Clouzot and Francois Clouzet, and
was that thriller, that like 2.5-hour thriller where?
No. With
what are you looking at me for? I don't know. I've been gone for 6 months.
With Omar Sy.
Intouchables.
Untouchables.
Yeah, Untouchables. So
Intouchables.
Intouchables. That's right. Yes. Yeah. So which has been remade 1,000 times, but they're amazing. The whole thing. It's just all these characters, this caterer and this giant wedding and this one day where everything that can go wrong, staging this wedding does, and a million subplots and all these different characters. And they just directed the hell out of this thing. It's really, really impressive staging.
Well, it should be, because you know what? When you walk around Paris like I did for 3 months, and also I hooked up with a couple of stringers from the Hollywood Reporter. I kind of connected with them a little bit and had a drink with them. You realize that the French film industry kind of sucks right now. A lot of the comedies are just lame, stupid, farcical crap.
But
there's good stuff.
Return of the Hero, which is farcical crap, I loved, which is Jean Dujardin and Melanie Laurent. It takes place in 1812. He plays a kind of this rogue who with it's a farce. It's great.
Well, was it directed by the OSS guy? Was it directed by what's his name?
No, it wasn't. But my goodness, it's funny.
Okay, I'll buy that. Well, no, I love him, and of course the OSS films are just fall down funny.
Look, he can. It basically it's like if somebody dropped an OSS film into the middle of Jane Austen.
So it's almost like his Love and Death.
A little bit. It's really funny. It's basically a Jane Austen scenario, except with that Dujardin guy. That shtick that he does right in the middle of it, and it's just so funny.
Well, I don't know. If we have to choose between the French film industry, which is making movies like that, and the American film industry, how much money did Infinity Wars make this past weekend?
It just crossed $1 billion.
Just crossed $1 billion.
Now here we are today. We're recording this on Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And and yes, as of today. Avengers Infinity War has made $1 billion, fastest film to get there worldwide. It's amazing. Shall we talk about that for a minute? Because we've all seen it now, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Particularly, this is on the heels of Black Panther. Black Panther is one of the films we're going to talk about today. Which all kinds of crazy numbers and the first two and everything. And then that's, right now, the Star Wars movie. So, I don't know, Infinity Wars, you saw it.
Yeah, I was at the big Disney screening.
I saw it. I was not at the screening you were at, but I saw
it. All I can say is I thoroughly enjoyed it. It totally scratched the itch. It's exactly what I was expecting. But at the same time, it's not really filmmaking. It's like a hybrid between video game design and filmmaking. And I just sat there thinking the Marvel Universe is utterly and completely ridiculous. I'm enjoying it, but I'm very aware of the fact that somehow in the universe, in quotes, as Marvel envisions it, it's not like the 2001 universe where there's just infinite empty space. Everything is too close. You ever notice that? Planets are like bumping into each other. There's space garbage everywhere. It's just like it's really crowded in space in these Marvel movies. Nobody is ever actually in empty, dark, black, infinite space.
And it doesn't seem to take them very long to get anywhere.
No, it's just like everything's just colliding with everything else. And people
maybe they have warp speed.
Mining in the middle of stars, and it's just crowded. And with all this technology, how do they do battle? They beat each other up with fists and hammers and swords and spears. It just
the occasional magical stone.
Yeah, it's just at a certain point, you just kind of go, I'm on board, but it's stupid.
No, you know what it is. I'm on board too. My thing with it is that it was one of the only Marvel films that felt very blueprinty. It was almost as if there's this plan, this master plan, and each individual film was entertaining on its own. But now I feel like the blueprint has come to this point at this moment, and the blueprint must be adhered to, or the entire universe will fall apart. It didn't feel as if it was
hard though, because this one is all about character service.
That's right. That's why it didn't feel like it was breathing on its own. It felt like it had. Like if we thought that the other Marvel films had a purpose, which is to service this sequel and that prequel and that whatever, this one was like. This was the culmination of 19 films, and it really cannot breathe on its own. It has to be exactly what it needs to be, airtight, or it's not going to work.
At the same time, it's not just a setup for its own sequel. It's a setup for another Marvel movie that comes out later this year, I think.
The Aquaman?
No, that's DC.
That's DC.
Well, we can't. I don't want to give it away, but there's another one that's coming.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I don't know, guys. I think I might be done. I do. I think I might be tapped out on my superhero universe stuff. I did not rush. I'll check this out, in a couple of days. I didn't need to write about it. I didn't need to see it for the radio show, because you saw it for the radio show, right?
Yeah.
And when I realized I don't need to write about this, and I don't need to see it for that radio show, my desire to see it evaporated whole and complete.
Yeah.
And I'm going to watch that on my big old 4K TV.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you don't go the opening day. Really the industry is now an opening weekend phenomenon now. Not only don't they care how it does in the second weekend, you don't care how it. You don't even want to see it. Like by Monday, if you haven't seen it, meh, what's the next one?
Yeah, because I will see it. I will see it.
Yeah, you'll get around to it.
But I'll get around to it.
Right. Whereas the studio is, they build up this anticipation for this gigantic Friday through Sunday orgasm that grosses $200 million, and by Monday, if you didn't see it, you're like, okay, I guess I missed it. I'll watch it on Netflix.
So, a few other things. I still don't have finality on Oppo. Mark, do you know about the Oppo news? Has that reached you?
Now, yes. Has Oppo gone out of business?
Well, they're not out of business. Well, this is the thing.
Did they stop making
They're
players?
no longer going to design and manufacture new products. They'll support the products that they've made, but they're not going to design anything new, which is weird. And because normally you would not do that. Normally you'd say, well, we're selling ourselves to Sony. We're selling the technology to somebody who this, that, or the other thing. But no, they're not. They're just kind of pulling the plug on development and research. And that's weird.
Is the company shrinking, or will they be replacing that manpower with something else?
No one knows. I've been trying in vain, and everyone else has been trying to get some kind of message out of them. And I'm working on it. But still don't have anything. Also, real quickly, Cohen Media, and we got a couple of Cohen titles to talk about today, including one that I have something very personal to say about. Cohen Media has launched a subscription channel on Amazon Channels. This is a thing now. Like how Criterion is available as an extra channel on Filmstruck, there are a lot of other channels that you can get on Amazon that are not part of Amazon Prime. You got to pay extra for them. So for an extra $4 a month, you could get the Cohen Film Library.
That's
and
an
it's great
interesting thing.
stuff.
I mean, Cohen even has a deal with local PBS. Maybe it's network PBS, where on Friday, and you know about that, right?
Yeah.
Those Cohen films on Friday. So they're really sort of trying to a Criterion kind of thing.
Yeah, very Criterion kind of thing. And they got a great library. I mean, a lot of old silents, and they have the old Rohauer collection there. And there's a lot of stuff, and they're basically trying to emulate the Criterion model, but doing it on Amazon. So I thought that was interesting.
But still, it's an added
thing. It's an extra
Amazon,
$4 a month.
Amazon is it's the $99 thing, which I think they're going to $120. I heard next year.
Yeah, 110. Something like that. Yeah.
So like I'm an Amazon guy. I already paid my $99 whenever I paid it. So if I want this, what do I do now?
You're going to pay an extra like $50 a year.
So I just buy it for the whole year, because that's the whole thing about Amazon. They make you pay for the whole thing at once.
You can buy an extra $50 a year, gets you all the Cohen stuff.
I'm getting a little worried that every little distributor is going to have like their own $5 or $10 a month thing, and before you know it, it'll be just as much as your regular cable bundle.
$250 a month again.
Yeah.
Which is what that's what the hell I was trying to get away from.
What's going to happen is you will eventually have online aggregators, right? Where we're sign up with us and we will bring you this, that, and this, discounted, and now we're bringing you a bundle. So it's like what you get out of your cable operator, except you won't be going to your monopoly, your local cable or satellite monopoly. You'll be, you'll have your pipe, you'll pay your, $60 a month to your cable company to get online, and then you get these aggregators who'll give you your package. So that's how it's going to be.
I think we're going to end up with like Jim Jarmusch channels.
Yeah, why not?
$2.
I'd watch that.
All the Jim Jarmusch movies you ever want to see.
That's how it is on Sirius Radio. Sirius Radio, you subscribe to Sirius Radio in the car, and along with that, you will get things like, and of course, it's not a la carte, but you'll get like they have the Fleetwood Mac channel now.
I had no idea.
They have the Bruce Springsteen channel.
Oh, Bruce Springsteen.
No idea.
Yeah, it's really kind of weird. Like the Elvis channel, okay, that's fine. I get it. The Sinatra channel, that's fine. I get it. Fleetwood Mac? Is there enough to sustain a whole channel?
Look, have you listened to
24/7 Fleetwood Mac?
When I came back to LA,
in your right mind?
When I came back to LA, I'm borrowing a family friend's car, which means I'm listening to the radio. Classic rock radio for the first time in 7 months, because I've been in Paris and I wasn't driving. They play the same 7 songs over and over again. So Fleetwood Mac has had half a dozen albums and even more live albums and whatnot. There's plenty to sustain Fleetwood Mac.
All right, and before we move into DVDs and Blu-rays, last bit. Gentlemen, the Academy, as of, in all, however, what are we at? 90-some years of the Academy Awards. The Academy's been around like 90-some years. In 90-some years, they didn't expel anybody for about the first 80. And then they expelled a guy for pirating. And then last year, they kicked out Harvey Weinstein. And just this week, they kicked out Bill Cosby and Roman Polanski.
On the same day.
On the same day. Apparently for the new morals clause and all this. Now, I'm going to say, as much as I support all this house cleaning, I don't like the idea of suddenly retroactivity here, where the Academy is saying, well, we have a new morals clause, and anyone who offended that at any time in the past, we're going to kick you out, and we're going to do it on a really, really kind of ad hoc basis as we see. Like, now, what does not get you kicked out? I'm not clear on the rules. And I know the Polanski situation is very hazy. It all took, that's decades ago. It was resolved until a judge changed. It had a change of heart and a change of mind. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very legally fuzzy thing.
People get the Polanski thing very...
It's very fuzzy.
A, he pled guilty.
He pled guilty.
B, he actually went to jail for a second.
He did. He did his time.
A deal was made.
Yeah.
Deal was broken. He split and has been gone ever since. Now,
so, yeah.
But the fact is, yeah, he was guilty of the actual thing, which he said so.
But, you know, a lot of people in the Academy are guilty of actual things and have done time.
So that. And now Bill, on the other hand, Bill still claims to be innocent, was adjudicated and found guilty.
But has not exhausted his appeals process. What happens if he goes through the appeals process and it's thrown out? Do they let him back in? See, there are all these. I'm not clear on what the new rules are.
Well, every
I'm not clear on this.
Well, every company that you sign with, and the Academy isn't a company in the context that I'm advancing, but they have a morals clause.
Yes.
Like you hear about an employee for a company who goes on a racist rant on the subway and they get fired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because now, what happens if Tom Hanks goes on a racist rant on a subway? Now, we love Tom Hanks. He would only do it for a role. But let's say that some B-level Academy member, a producer, whatever, goes on a racist rant on the subway.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty horrible to me. Yeah. Should they get thrown out?
I don't know.
It just seems like a weird slippery slope. The only thing we can all agree on is Harvey Weinstein. The only thing we can all agree on is Harvey Weinstein.
But the thing is, Harvey, they kicked him out before there was any kind of due process, which I think everybody felt okay about because it all blew up in the media. We were all part of the judge and jury at that time, and it all felt like, yeah, this is justified. But now, what are we going to do about Kevin Spacey?
Or Woody Allen?
And Woody Allen has always denied it, and he's never been, that's always, and what about people who've assaulted people? Like Sean Penn has punched people.
Mark Wahlberg threw a kid off of a balcony. Look, these things are all extremely complicated, but I think what's really going on here doesn't really have anything to do with whether or not the law or legalities have been involved. I was in the Air Force for a long time, and you could be punished for simply bringing shame or scrutiny on your flight. It just didn't make any difference whether or not you did it, right?
Yeah.
You brought shame on us. Doesn't make any difference whether or not the thing actually happened. You brought shame on us, and for that, you will be punished. Now, that kind of went away for a while there in the military, but I always liked that. I got to tell you, the entire time I was in the Air Force Academy, just thinking that you would bring shame on your flight was enough to keep you from bringing shame on your flight. Because you knew what was going to happen to you.
And I get that, and I think that's great.
You didn't even get in the shadow of it at all. And I don't know, it was a very, very powerful tool.
But the retroactivity concerns me a little bit.
Retroactivity is
that I'm really struggling with.
It just doesn't seem like, look, if there's a 40 mile per hour speed limit and you go 45 miles an hour, that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
You went over the speed limit and you're going to get a ticket.
Yeah.
Who's judge, jury, and executioner in the Academy, and what are they basing it on?
Academy Board of Governors, and what they're basing it on is
nothing. Is arbitrariness. What they're probably basing it on is public reaction if they don't act.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah. Which of course, if you think about it, they are, at the end of the day, they're a big, gigantic publicist organization for the movie.
The movie. That's all they are. Yeah, absolutely.
So if that's what they do, then this is actually them doing that. Yeah. They're looking at society. They're looking at, and they're saying, how does this look? This is what publicists do. This looks bad. What do we got to do? We got to do something to make it look better. And they do. Or at least they think they have done something to make it look better, because that's the only thing they're doing anyway. It's trying to figure out how to make Hollywood look good.
Right.
So they do the thing that makes Hollywood look good, and doesn't really have anything to do with whether or not it's fair.
Well,
it has to do with whether or not it makes us look good.
Well, the issue is that the Academy is, whether it's smoke and mirrors or not, is this august body that represents the entire art form, right? So what they do is more important than whatever Rogers and Cowan does.
Yeah.
You know, so you almost they almost have this bedrock reputation as representing the art form itself. So whatever they do reflects on the entire industry, right? So I'm just a little worried that if they start throwing people out based on the fact that a woman had a bad date with Aziz Ansari and Aziz Ansari gets thrown out of the academy, not that he's in the academy, but that would be really bad.
Well, it's
What do you say? You say if you're convicted of a felony, you get thrown out?
yeah.
Maybe it's a felony versus misdemeanor
I
thing.
don't know, but they got to delineate it. All right, let's move into discs. We're half an hour into the show as of right now. So let's start off on some new movies. Mark, chime in as you feel you need to.
You know what? I'm glad that you're starting with the best new movie you have to talk. Once again, I've been gone for 7 months, and you still do the same thing, which is start by talking about the lamest movie you have in your pile.
Kate Blanchett in Manifesto. I want to get this out of the way right now.
I love her.
Okay, I love Kate Blanchett.
Watching Kate Blanchett is like watching fully clothed porn.
I love Kate Blanchett.
Love her.
But Manifesto I do not love. Manifesto is an experimental film from Julian Rosenfeld, who's an experimental artist. Basically, it's called Manifesto. All this is, they went and they compiled a bunch of literary manifestos, all kinds of manifestos. It includes like the Communist Manifesto, the Dogma 95 Manifesto, anything that was ever written that was called a manifesto.
That homie out in the cabin out there
might even be. I think they use some of that too. I can't the Unabomber deal.
Yeah,
and all these manifestos. I can't keep track of them. Anyway, there's like 16 of them, and they shoot Kate Blanchett reciting each one in a different dramatic vignette. So she'll be like some kind of a news person, or she'll be a homeless person, or she'll be a guy, or she'll be a this or a that, and a different. It's like 16 different, or she's like in a toxic waste thing with a hazmat suit on. All these different scenarios, and they intercut all of them together in this just ridiculous feature-length, haphazard monstrosity. It's totally experimental. It's arduous. I love Kate Blanchett, but all I could think was, who the hell paid for this?
Which is a good question. Or at least the vignettes related to the manifestos. Is there connectivity?
Yeah, I guess there is. I checked out. I checked out really early on this one. I just kind of sat there, looked at my watch, counted the ceiling tiles. It was a bad scene. Anyway,
you want to go from that to Mark's favorite movie of last?
Yeah.
You know, somewhere there is a woman who thinks that the 50 Shades trilogy is just so sexy it should be banned. That there should be like a book burning Fahrenheit 451 bonfire of these. They're so incredibly horribly just sexy and X-rated and pornographic. I don't know who that woman is, but she's crazy. Because not only can you see worse than this in like on like Nickelodeon, as far as I'm concerned, but the movies are terrible. So now we have 50 Shades Freed, which is the mercifully last film in this trilogy. It really should say audience freed, because they're finally freed from caring about this crap. And so is Jamie Dornan, who was never very good in these. He doesn't smolder. He doesn't just give you that thing where you just feel like women would just do anything for him. She's terrific. Dakota Johnson, she's hopefully will be a star. You know, she was the breakout when the first film happened, and now she's sort of like settling in, and hopefully she'll be a big star.
She's just like her mom. She has the exact same thing her mom had, 35 years ago. Confidence, a sort of litheness. She's very girly. She's crazy comfortable naked, which is
it's her mom.
Which is Melanie was comfortable naked, which is the thing. Not everybody is comfortable with that kind of thing, and she's not actually pretty. I mean, if you think about pretty,
she looks like her dad,
Margot Robbie. Yeah, she looks more like Don Johnson, Yeah. But something about that makes her sexy. She looks like a girl I could actually talk to. It's what it is.
Here's the question that really, really keeps me awake at night. If Dakota Johnson and Dakota Fanning were in a movie together, which one would be North Dakota and which would be South Dakota?
Are you saying that they're in a lesbian relationship and one's on top and one's...
No, it was a dumber joke than that. It was really a very simple joke.
There is no joke dumber than what you just said. Anyway, so these movies are dreadful. You know what? I remember seeing
it's on 4K. And this is unrated. Oh my gosh, it's unrated 4K. It's like they come out of the TV.
His penis comes out of the TV?
And they give you a Me Too thing. You want to join in? That's what happened.
I remember seeing the first one at a screening, and the first one it was a screening in Hollywood, and literally half the audience were these giggling women who just could not wait to see the first film and just really just have their little Sex in the City moment. In the end, it was just terrible. They were laughing.
What are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
there
What
you go.
is this? Hostels, man.
Favorite movie of last year?
Really?
A very strong movie, that's for sure. Wes Studi in this movie. Wes Studi has the same face in
this
this movie
movie
that he had when he played Geronimo in 1992 or
I
whatever
know,
the hell it was,
right?
or for that matter,
Dance with Wolves.
Dance with Wolves. Same
Yeah.
movie. Face has not changed at all, and he still looks like he could kill me. I'm almost certain that that's true.
I love this film. I love this film with such a passion.
Well, look, it's a very, very strong film. It's a very, very dark film, bloody film, violent film, representation of the
takes place
of
in
the era.
1892.
Yeah, Indian Wars, cavalryman and his team, a family out on the range, Indian attack. It's just all so brutal.
And it's an existential journey. It's a road trip. I mean, here's the thing that I love about this movie, and there are a lot of other little tangents to it. But basically, Christian Bale is a cavalry officer, soon to basically be leaving the cavalry, whose last job is to escort a Native American,
an old chief, an
old
warrior.
chief that he has history with, and not good history, who's been a prisoner for a long time. Basically, take him back to he's been freed, has to take him back to his home. And it is very literally a mythic journey that they undertake. And what I love about this is that every time something happens where you think, and this is Scott Cooper, who did Crazy Heart and other fine films, who directed this. Every time something happens and you go, oh, I know where this movie's going. This is the twist that takes us in this direction. It doesn't. And then something else happens and you go, now we're going in that direction. And it doesn't. And you realize that all these things have different meanings, and they're all it's literally a mythic odyssey where everything is symbolic and meaningful on a much higher level. This film is profound to me, and I think people really didn't get it. Although I want to give a shout out. I did it on the radio too. I'm going to do it again. Entertainment Studios, Byron Allen's company, which quite nearly won the giant bidding war a couple of years ago for The Birth of a Nation. They put this out. They just put out Chappaquiddick. They're getting some high-profile pictures, and they're putting some big titles out, and they're not quite in the groove to go toe-to-toe with some of these other companies.
Yeah,
but,
Warner Brothers or whatever.
But they're swinging.
A24.
They're swinging for the bleachers.
Oh, hey, dude, it's a Christian Bale film.
It's a big, powerful movie, and look out for Entertainment Studios.
Special feature: A Journey of the Soul, the making of Hostels.
Now-
60-minute documentary on the back of that movie.
Now, Scott Cooper, I believe, is directing that Martin Luther King assassination film.
It'll be great if he is. He's a hell of a director.
Yeah. Hey, look, he finally won. Now, I'm going to say he finally won Jeff Bridges the Oscar he has long deserved.
Yeah.
Of course, it was sort of Jeff's time in a way, but yet he was great in the film, and I think that Bridges owes Scott Cooper a big thank you.
Indeed, he does.
Was not a fan of Black Mass.
No, I wasn't either.
No.
That was
Yeah.
But I am a fan of Out of the Furnace.
Yeah.
Christian Bale film. That he did, so like that.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, Antlers. Yeah.
What do we got next?
Well, let me talk about Black Panther for a second. Mark and I were talking about this a little while ago. It'll be interesting to see. This is
number 2 domestic film of all time.
Well,
right now.
the numbers that we were just talking about with Infinity War. So
Yeah.
what that wiped out was this.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this did incredibly well. It'll be interesting to see when we wander around to Academy Award time whether or not this film, in a lot of categories, frankly, I think that this film is perfectly worthy. Certainly, I think Michael B. Jordan, Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
This screenplay is very strong to me. If you pay attention to the screenplay, it's strong screenplay.
It's one of the very few. There's a great mashup online that kind of pokes fun at Doctor Strange because it's effectively Iron Man all over again. I don't know if you've seen it, just different guy, different goatee. It's quite funny. Has to do this and wrestle with this and all this stuff, and you realize basically the same movie. And most of the Marvel movies are kind of templated in a way. They're following a very particular pattern, but there are a handful that don't. The first Guardians of the Galaxy did not. This one does not. And I would say until all the other movies started copying it, Iron Man, the first Iron Man, did not. Those are kind of the only three. Really.
Because those are left-turn films.
They're left-turn films.
Because before Guardians, nobody thought that the Marvel films would have the kind of sense of humor that that they wind up
Yeah.
displaying in Guardians.
Yeah.
They're getting too serious and it's too much. And Guardians comes and Chris Pratt is giving the camera the middle finger, and it's great. You needed that film at that time. Yeah. Somehow Marvel's very good at knowing exactly when to breathe and exactly when to tense up. And they're very good at that.
What happens over in that DC universe?
Yeah, which,
where it's just one gigantic clenched fist is horrible. And then with Black Panther was what I loved about Black Panther is that I felt as if I was really. It was all about the culture of this world that they lived in, and the culture in the world felt richer than any other Marvel film.
Yeah.
More so even than Thor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, much more than Thor. Here, you felt the politics and the social. It was very clever in that way.
The very bright thing that young Ryan Coogler does with this movie is he gives it the movie called Black Panther. He gives the movie to the girls.
Yeah,
it's the girls.
It's true, right?
That saved the day. The women in this movie save his ass like 5 times. The Black Panther gets his ass kicked, and some chick has to come in and go, dude, will you get up? What the hell is going on here? His mom has to save his ass. And I'm watching this movie from the perch of a young black man, or an older black man now, but a guy who used to be a young black man. I'm like, that's the way. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
My mom, my sister, my wife saved my ass for 50 years, and he got that right because he is the son of a single mother.
Yeah.
Very, very good movie. 4K, all kinds of fabulous stuff on it. So, check it out. Black
Great.
Panther.
Can I say one more thing about Black Panther?
Yeah.
So the Marvel pixie dust, there's such a bottomless well of Marvel pixie dust that in Avengers, right?
Yeah.
The big climactic battle takes place on Wakanda. Can you imagine if Black Panther bombed?
Oh, man.
But not only was it this amazing success, but now we want more of Wakanda.
Yeah.
And the movie that they when they were shooting this film, they didn't know the Black Panther would be huge.
Tell you something. This is I've made fun of Kevin Feige in the past, but this is where the fact that he's a lifelong Marvel nerd really, really shows that he's the auteur behind this. This is a case of an executive being an auteur. And the individual films are not the achievement. It's the landscape, the tapestry of all of this. I'm sitting there in the crowded 1,100-seat El Capitan with press people, cynical-ass press people who see 4 and 5 movies projected every week, and they sit there and they text and check their watches, and they're not into movies. As soon as that moment in Avengers, a little bit of a spoiler here coming, where they say we need to find a place at blah 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 blah, and Captain America goes, I know. Cut to coming into Wakanda. That was 1,100 people going, woo, screaming. It was like, we are home, baby.
Look, when you see cute little white girls on the street talking about Wakanda forever, you throw in the hood. I'm like, you know what? This is a win.
It is.
This
a win.
is a wonderful win.
It's a fantastic win. I'm gonna knock out a couple of other 4Ks here real quickly. New film and an older film. The older film, Source Code, with Jake Gyllenhaal, just released in 4K from Summit, and looks beautiful in 4K. This film, great performances: Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, Vera Farmiga. One of those kind of virtual reality things. A little bit of a Groundhog Day vibe to it. Trying to figure out what's real and what isn't as he relives this terrorist event over and over. And
Duncan Jones, of course.
Duncan, who did Moon. What happened to Duncan Jones? Come on. I know.
But you know what? It's a sharp movie, but for some reason it didn't really catch fire at the time. And 4K, looking at it again, I think this movie should have a shelf life. I think people should find and remember this movie over time. I think this may gather a little bit of momentum over, very, very slowly. It'll become kind of a cult favorite.
Yeah.
It didn't really catch fire, still hasn't really caught fire, but I think over time it'll do well. The other film is Peter Rabbit, the mostly CGI, but CGI and live action mixed thing that from Will Gluck, which is just absolutely rancid and horrendous. So they're basically taking the literary Peter Rabbit and mutilating the daylights out of it to the point where it's completely and totally unrecognizable. And it all takes place present day, and it's got pop music, and they've changed the characters up, and it's just so tangential to the actual original material. This thing is virtually unwatchable. And it includes an all-new Peter Rabbit mini-movie, which I'm going to assume is probably equally unwatchable. So this is on 4K, but honestly, unless you saw this thing in the theater and your kids said, I want to have it on 4K, don't. Can't imagine this being justified.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
Let's see. Where else? We have a giveaway, by the way.
We've got some classics there.
We got some classics. Let's kick out some classics. Got 3 from Olive here, and they're all worthwhile. One of them is unbelievably worthwhile. Let me just make mention first of Joe.
Oh, John Avildsen.
Yeah,
Joe, right?
good movie.
This is one of. I'm gonna, with all due respect to Rocky, which I do think is an overrated film, might this be John Avildsen's best movie?
Easily.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah. I think so too.
Definitely one of the best.
Despite put aside Rocky, put aside Karate Kid, which I really love, put aside The Power of One, which is basically Rocky and the Karate Kid all over again with Stephen Dorff in South Africa, and I think this is a great movie. I really do. This is from 1970.
Peter Boyle is the thing.
So good.
He's
great.
Yeah, I mean, this became, this got a screenplay nomination for Norman Wexler, who is just one of the all-time great screenwriters. It really is. Susan Sarandon's so young and so just tremendous in this. I think this is a really, really great film. It's just a great character piece, right?
That's all it is. Yeah, it was a coming out for him. This is 19.
It's a Marty kind of a thing. 1970.
That's the thing. It's 1970s. During that time when that moment when it's gritty and urban and rich with character, it's great.
All about verisimilitude and truth. You had him.
Yeah.
You had Schlesinger. You had Altman.
Yeah.
None of those movies could be made today. Can't make that movie today. Cannot. Not as a major motion picture release.
Another one from Olive is Mermaids. Richard Benjamin, back when he kind of knew how to make movies, from 1990. He's still around, isn't he?
He's still around, definitely.
He hasn't directed anything in 20 years.
I don't know why. My favorite year.
Yeah. Well, 1990, Mermaids. Cher, Winona Ryder, Bob Hoskins. Terrific little movie. I
love that movie.
Yeah, I think this movie works better now than it did then. I think Cher was a little bit too big in 1990, and I think her celebrity overwhelmed the movie. And I think people carried all this baggage around with Cher movies. And, Cher's in another movie, so Cher's in Cher's, and they couldn't see through Cher. And you look at this now, and I can see through her persona, and it works better as a nice little character piece, little family piece. It's quirky. Winona Ryder's first big thing, right?
Yep. Christina Ricci, young Christina Ricci.
Young Christina Ricci.
I will point out again, cannot release that as a major motion picture today.
That?
Couldn't do it.
No.
Couldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it. And, great music by Jack Nietzsche. It's a fun film. And Bob Hoskins, so sweet.
Yeah.
And then the last one here. I don't know why. I applaud Olive for putting this out. I don't know why this didn't get a big, just kick-ass master 4K special edition release from Sony. I don't know why they didn't bother, because Hope and Glory is one of the great films of all time. Hope and Glory is an amazing movie, nominated for a heap of Academy Awards. There are no extras on this, by the way, so I don't know what the point is. But the movie itself is amazing. Got a ton of Academy Awards in the most amazing year of 1987, which is the year that the Last Emperor won.
Yeah.
But Hope and Glory was right in there.
John Borman. It's such a great film.
It's an amazing.
And it's based on Borman's recollections. Yeah.
My mother, of course, grew up during World War II, basically the same age as Borman, except she was in Germany and he was in England. But I remember seeing this with my mother, and all those moments where the kids celebrate because there's an air raid siren, because now they get to skip class and run down into the shelter. And I remember my mother was laughing, and she said, "Same thing happened to us. We'd hear the bombing raid. Parents, and the adults would freak out, and we'd celebrate because now we get to skip class and just go down to the shelter and sit there until the sirens go off." It's fascinating that cultural commonality. Anyway, it all based on his World War II childhood, going to his grandparents out in the country. It's a wonderful, wonderful movie in every conceivable way. I love it through and through. The performances are great, the direction's great, the screenplay is great. Absolutely great film, but it does deserve a special edition. It deserves 4K. It deserves a lot of extras, especially a commentary while Borman is still alive.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful movie. It's Alive.
Yeah.
Which, It's Alive. It's Alive Again.
Yeah.
Island of the Alive.
Yeah.
You got to love those titles at least.
Love them.
These movies right here, the first one anyway, it's why I don't have children. That's it right there.
I love the first movie.
It's on the box. It's a great movie. But
Yes.
But it's still Rosemary's Baby kind of, sort of.
Larry Cohen,
Yeah.
doing his thing.
Yeah.
Larry, who gave us Black Caesar.
And we've interviewed him on this show.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You guys
we interviewed
remember
him
this.
a few months
Fantastic. So anyway, the 3-box set, Out of Shout Factory, all kinds of special features, 2K scans from the original film elements. And Larry, who's still around, of course, it's on here in a little documentary, and the actors are all on here. Michael Moriarty is fantastic. So it's alive. If you're into that, you want to go do it. Blu-ray, 3-disc set.
All right. And let's see. I'm going to...
Wait, why don't I talk about Saving Private Ryan?
Yes, do that.
Well,
And
you do
know
that.
what? By the way, we have a giveaway.
What?
We have a giveaway of what Mark's going to talk about right now. I'm going to tell you. It's 4K Saving Private Ryan. We're giving away 2, courtesy of Paramount Pictures. Send us an email to gods@digigods.com or gods@cinegods.com with Ryan in the subject, your name and address in the body. Get it to us by May 11th. May 11th is the deadline. Get it to us by May 11th, and 2 very lucky people will get a 4K Blu-ray of Saving Private Ryan. Again, Ryan in the subject line, name and address in the body. Mark, talk about 4K Private Ryan.
It's fantastic. Everybody knows Private Ryan from, of course, that first 45 minutes. But once you get past the first 45 minutes, it's still a great film. And the thing with Private Ryan, when you look at it in the scope of Spielberg's career, you still get a sense that he is just bone deep motivated by the material. The material means something to him.
Would that be the beginning of his World War II run? What was the World War? Did he do a World War II?
Empire of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun,
which was the
'87.
same year as Hope and Glory and Last Emperor.
Okay, yeah.
And Au revoir les enfants. Those were all the movies about childhood in World War II.
But Empire of the Sun is great.
Empire of the Sun is terrific too.
Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah.
And of course, Schindler's List. But with I've never seen, even with Jaws, I've never seen Spielberg so just viscerally excited about the idea of staging a scene. When he does that storming on the beach,
it's the great look. The Longest Day has the greatest staging of D-Day from an epic vantage. You're watching it. You're looking at it. You're saying that is an amazing recreation of the invasion. It's amazing. I mean, 4 major directors, working on that film. Saving Private Ryan, you're in it. You're part of it. No one else has ever done it. No one will ever do it again.
But there was a certain, because Spielberg is so sentimental, and I remember there was a shot in that first 45 minutes when they're storming the beach. It was a soldier. He's on the shore. He's on his knees, and he gets shot in the head, but his helmet saves him.
Yeah.
And then he takes off his helmet to marvel at how his helmet saved his life, and then he gets shot in the head again.
Yeah.
And dies.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, oh my God, Spielberg is he is not fooling around.
Yeah.
This is a Spielberg we've never seen before.
No.
And this is back when he was very motivated by the material. You just felt his desire to do it right.
And even though, here's the thing, I mean, I do like the film. I prefer Thin Red Line, the Malick film, which came out the same year. Both of them got nominated for a heap of Oscars.
I mean, that was the big fight. Are you a Saving Private Ryan guy or are you a Thin Red Line guy?
I love them both, but I was a Malick guy. Malick understood. Well, there's a mistake in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this, and you phrased it perfectly, and I'm going to let you do it right now.
I'm not even going to go there.
Well, what is it, Uncle Tim?
Well, Tim, I will quote it. Tim said to me right after we saw it. He said, you know what? The only person who should not get saved in Saving Private Ryan is Private Ryan.
I don't think Spielberg was never that much of a defeatist.
He doesn't have it in his heart.
No.
Malick knows better. Malick knows you got to kill Private Ryan.
Yeah.
He dies. He's the one motherfucker in this movie who absolutely has to die.
Yeah.
But Spielberg don't have that in his heart.
No, because the guy
same thing in
Schindler's List with the red girl. He doesn't. The girl with the red.
Can't do it.
He can't. That's just not him. But also with Thin Red Line, not only is it terrific, but it's also that the return of Malick, the existential take on war. It was a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But there really are 2 great films.
4K Private Ryan, man.
Looks great. If you don't have it, how can you not get it now?
All right, I'm going to crank through some kid vid here real quickly. Just make mention of some things that if you have kids like I do, I have a child, you might want to get some of these. Wacky Races, Start Your Engines, 10 episodes of the Wacky Races. That's really all you need. Wacky Races was a fun show for me when I was a kid. I don't know.
Love the Wacky Races.
You know what? I liked it too. I admit it.
I don't know if kids today will necessarily like it the way that we liked it, but you know, it was a lot of fun, and all the different cars, and it didn't really ever matter who was winning. It was just all the shenanigans going on. It was a cartoon version of The Great Race, and it was a whole lot of fun.
I loved that the bad guys would win.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, Muttley always just slayed me. So anyway, this is the you know, it's the Wacky Races, man. It's great. So 10 episodes, and have fun with it. Then we also have from Warner Brothers, who also did great Wacky Races, is Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. This is another original DC movie, and animated, of course. And it's sharp. It's not one of the best ones, but it is interesting and intriguingly written. And I wish the people who write these, I've said this before, I wish they would write the feature films. They should take hold of the DC universe because they would fix it. But Batgirl is in this, and you know, Robin is cooler than he's been in a very, very long time. And it's all really, really well done and nicely animated. PBS Kids. I have a whole ton from PBS Kids. This stuff skews very, very young. But my daughter has really liked a lot of this stuff, and I think you really can't go wrong. PBS
I just don't like that animation. It's too clean and 3D.
It's not great animation, most of it, except for the Canadian one, which is just insane. But you know what? Here's the thing. We got Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Best of Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Recipe for Fun collection, if you like that. Word World, Building Readers, Let's Eat, which is really good. I mean, it's very, very helpful in learning words. The Wild Kratts, which is one of my least favorite, and least favorite in terms of animation, too. Madagascar Madness. It's kind of, you know, it's fun, but a little bit pointless. There are 4 episodes on there. Caillou Goes Camping. They have said, and there are 12 episodes on here, they have said that Caillou is great for kids' cognitive development. I don't know how insane they are. Seriously, that's nuts. Caillou is just, it's Canadian animation. He's bald. He never gets hair. None of it makes any sense. It's very weird. The way that there's always a frame, this weird kind of cloudy frame, but for some reason they say this is the kind of animation that helps kids develop cognitive skills. I don't understand it. I'll take their word for it. Caillou Goes Camping. Knock yourselves out. Peg Plus Cat is great for learning mathematics. My daughter enjoys Peg Plus Cat. She prefers Sarah and Duck, which is British. But there are 4 episodes on here. Peg Plus Cat, The Big Dog Problem. Very funny. I gotta say, this is, you know, all about solving math problems. Cat, the voice of Cat is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I know I've said that before, but it's great. And then lastly is Pinkalicious and Peterific in Pink Imagine It. This is really strictly for girls, even though there's a boy in here. This is 6 episodes of very, very girly stuff with Pinkalicious. If you haven't seen it, it is just dripping with girlness. So 6 episodes of Pinkalicious. And then from the Lego world, we have 2, I still don't get this stuff, but we've got two Lego releases, both of them DC heroes. One on DVD, one on Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is the better one. It's The Flash. This is from DC Comics Superheroes. Their agreement with Lego. It's Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy, meaning movies anywhere, combo. And I guess if you're into the whole, you know, DC Lego thing, you will really thoroughly enjoy this. It even has the dogs, the Bat Dog and the Super Dog. Reverse Flash is in this. It's you know, Wonder Woman shows up. It's kind of fun. And then the other one is Supervillain High. This is on Blu-ray. Not Blu-ray, it's on DVD. This is the DC Superhero Girls. It's less Lego-y. They are more sort of human-looking and less, you know, the actual Lego things that you have in the other Lego movies, which makes it a little more kind of enjoyable from an aesthetic standpoint. But it's still very, very silly. It all takes place in, you know, the superhero high school, and you got Supergirl and Batgirl and Wonder Woman, and you know, they got to fight Catwoman, Cheetah, and Poison Ivy because they're all now, you know, mean girls in the school. It's kind of silly. Nickelodeon, a couple from Nickelodeon. Paw Patrol, this is really popular with boys. My daughter's not into this at all. Paw Patrol Summer Rescues, which is a whole bunch of episodes just about dogs surfing and doing other fun things that dogs do. And then Bubble Guppies, which I thoroughly enjoy because they sing. They sing. They're like Josie and the Pussycats. They have cute little tunes. Bubble Guppies is Bubble Puppies Awesome Adventures, which is all about the little mermaid puppy dog who who's having adventures of his own. There are 5 episodes here, very specifically centered around that little bubble puppy. And then the last batch here, these are all kind of interesting one-offs you might want to take a look at. There is Tad, the Lost Explorer, and the Secret of King Midas, which comes also with Ultraviolet. This is from Paramount. This is kind of like an animated Indiana Jones riff. It's okay. It's not bad. Serviceable. Condorito, the movie from Aranax Studios, with some decent voice casting. It's sort of what you'd expect. It's knockoff wannabe Pixar. Give it a look if you don't have anything better to do. Disney Puppy Dog Pals. This is from Disney Junior. This is just more fun, cute dog stuff with a couple of cute cats. It's there's nothing really to it. A new version of Pinocchio with some interesting voice casting, including John Heder. No real great reason that this has to exist. This is from Grindstone and Lionsgate. But if the Disney version you don't want to sort of be orthodox about it, there are a few things in this that are in the book that are not actually in the Disney movie. And then lastly, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. We're not in Kansas anymore, which is an animated Oz adventure that's really not very good. But if your kids need their Wizard of Oz fix, as my daughter very often does, then this will scratch it for a few minutes. All right.
I'm going to do a couple of these little movie collections. You think?
Tim's got a bunch of Mill Creek stuff. So what do we got?
Well, this first little set here, the 6 Degrees collection. I say that, and you already know it's involving Kevin Bacon.
And clever.
That's what all these movies have in common. Kevin Bacon. Other than that, they don't have anything in common whatsoever.
I want to be in the meeting where, like, at Mill Creek, where like they brainstormed like what to release in 2018. Let's do the 6 Degrees with only Kevin Bacon films. This is brilliant. Take an early lunch.
That guy got a promotion.
Yeah, really.
I'm telling you that right now on Blu-ray. The Big Picture, which is a movie I actually really loved quite a lot. Flatliners, Kevin Bacon standing in the background right there. Hollow Man, strong Kevin Bacon horror film.
Really?
I actually like that. What's your name?
I haven't watched it in a long time.
Oh, I remember that being absolutely frightening with him walking around. I remember the special effects being pretty good in that.
That movie. I remember for the time, yeah.
At the time, Trapped. Don't actually remember that movie. Where the Truth Lies.
No, that's Agoyan, right?
Yeah.
By then he had almost completely lost it.
Yeah.
Agoyan.
Yeah.
Just falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
What happened to that guy?
I don't know.
Oh,
man.
dude, Exotic.
Exotica was great.
Yeah.
The Sweet
Hereafter was
great.
amazing.
He had a moment, and then he just kind of Felicia's Journey was it seemed
that was okay.
That was good, but it felt like he was trying to do something a little more commercial with the serial killer thing, but do it in an artsy way.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just all off the rails.
Yeah. The last one on here, In the Cut, a Meg Ryan film with Mark Ruffalo.
That's the one where she's naked.
That's one she's naked a lot.
Jane Campion.
That's before she had the that was kind of good. Anyway, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. That's an interesting thing. Then we go to the '80s Overdrive collection, another 6 movie collection. I can say rather proudly that I've seen all of these movies. I saw them all on the date that they were released. In the 1980s.
Congratulations? Question mark?
I don't know, but yeah, saw The Legend of Billie Jean. Helen Slater and Christian Slater.
Yeah.
In The Legend of Billie Jean.
One of my all-time favorite theme songs, by the way.
Yeah.
That Pat Benatar.
Yeah, the Pat Benatar.
Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
That's why I went to see the movie.
We're old.
Little Nikita. River Phoenix again with Sidney Poitier.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
An interesting movie for that middle 80s period when we were going through that whole sort of
Sure.
thing as the wall was coming down. Hard Bodies. Why wouldn't you go see that? It's a chick in a bikini on the cover. Spring Break. I remember dragging Bridget to see this. She thought that was perfectly insane. Private Resort, which is one of Johnny Depp's early movies, young Johnny Depp in Private Resort. And Perfect, which was a very interesting movie.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta. And man...
That was a bit of a cultural. That didn't work. No, it didn't work at all. But it was definitely because you know what, like aerobics and aerobicizing,
all that stuff. Yeah.
All that stuff became more mainstream because of that film. Because people in Boise, Idaho, knew that women could wear like spandex tights, and you put on some ABBA, and you start dancing and lose weight.
Jane Fonda was jumping around.
Yeah,
it was my old neighbor Ron who created aerobicize.
Yeah.
Rest his soul.
I love that show. Mark, I'm gonna let you knock off. I gave him the really good ones, and then I'll pop back over to the television.
Well, first I'll do the. By the way, folks, we are just cranking out the. Let's see how many bad movies we can shove into one box set and sell at a bin at the gas station for $5.99. That's where we're at now because we have 9 pulse-pounding films.
9.
The box does like 9 pulse-pounding films should be like the subtitle of the box. No, it's actually the name of the box set. 9 pulse-pounding films. All these are terrible, except for one, which I'll save for last. Most of these feature
Is Sam Jackson in any of them because his face is on the box.
No, you know. Well, the thing with that, these mostly feature African American actors, and so Danny Glover, Louis Gossett Jr., Morgan Freeman, a lot with Sam Jackson, Mario Van Sidney Poitier is The Mark of the Hawk, which is hardly his best film, but the one that you don't want to buy the set for, you just want to rent it on Netflix or something, is Badass. Now, Badass is, everybody knows Sweetback's Badass song, but Mario, his son, made a film about the making of Sweetback's Badass song.
Mario was in Sweetback as a kid.
He's a little boy doing an extremely inappropriate thing to a child that age.
Yeah.
But we'll skip that. Go on.
And it took a long time for Mario's father to get this movie made, and it was a tortured production, and he really knocks it out of the park with Badass, which is sort of just a fictional take, I guess. Or it's based on the story of how he got the film made, and it's warts and all. Yeah. Mario does not sugarcoat in this film. So Badass is a terrific film. And that's the only one of the...
Sweetback is coming out on Blu-ray, I should point out.
I saw Mario the other day.
Yeah.
Just saw Mario the other day. Yeah,
still looks the same, doesn't it?
Yeah, which is irritating.
And then we have 21 films Scared to Death horror movie collection. 21 films Scared to Death. 21 films on 3 DVDs. If we go down these... Which ones are worth it? We have I Know What You Did Last Summer,
which I remember liking and reviewing well. I'm not going to kid you. I did.
We have I Know What You Did Last Summer. The other ones that are good are I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then I Know What You. And then the other 20 range from The Corpse Vanishes to Johnny Jupiter to Captain Zero Meteor. These are terrible, terrible films.
You know what that box is all about? That box, every one of those bad movies
stars somebody.
Stars somebody who became somebody.
Who became somebody.
But they had to get hacked up in one of these movies before they would let them actually have Emily Blunt. You got in there, gets hacked up. Jennifer Love, he gets hacked up. So what
you do is when you package this thing, you put their names on it. There's literally 10 names on this thing of actors you've heard of. So when you're rummaging through the bargain bin at Walmart and you see the big names, you'll pick this up. But then when you see the films that are on it, what? The Passage Beyond? Insanitarium? What garbage is this? It's terrible.
Everybody's got to start somewhere.
So I remember seeing Benji.
I love the Benji movies. Joe Camp.
Yeah, Joe
Come
Camp.
on.
The original Benji when I was at a friend's birthday party in elementary school. Anyway, the second Benji movie is Joe Camp's For the Love of Benji, which is not a very good movie. But it's out on Blu-ray, DVD, and with a digital copy as well from Mill Creek. And it includes a commentary with Joe Camp and his son Brandon, which is really the best reason to get this. It's sweet, it's cute, it's doggy, it's Benji.
There's a new Benji film.
Yeah.
There's a new Benji film directed by the son, by Joe's son.
By the son.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's the Camps and Benji. It's a family affair. So anyway, this is on Blu-ray. If you have an affection for the genre, for the films, then
Wade,
commentary's worth it.
Wade, Benji. We grew up on Benji. I love Benji.
I love me some Benji too. TV?
Yeah, hit that.
90s sitcom starter set. Again, watched every episode of every one of these when they aired. Jesus, I'm starting to hate myself. Just Shoot Me, seasons 1 and 2. Believe it or not, premiered in 1997.
It's a funny show.
A funny show with just the most extraordinary cast of mostly. I mean, David Spade, I think, had been on Saturday Night Live or something like that. Whatever, he'd been around. Yeah. But Lord Sandry and company, just so funny. The timing.
20 years ago.
Started 20 years ago. Ended in 90. The Larry Sanders Show, of course, season.
Oh, that's Hush Tones, Larry Sanders show.
Yeah. Did you not work?
Let me tell you something. I was working on a late night show when that show was airing. I was on Later with Greg Kinnear, which is on NBC at 1:30 in the morning. It was Leno, Conan, and then later. So we would watch that show, and it was like a documentary. That was not a sitcom. That was a documentary.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was absolutely hushed tones, Mount Rushmore, great television.
Wow, just fantastic. Lost Larry not too long ago. That's kind of a bummer. Wings, season 1 and 2. Again, one of those sleeper shows that was just on the air forever.
It became like an inside joke. Like, who the hell watches the show?
Yeah, you know, it's just all like watch these people sort of like all age on television, but turned out a few people. So it's interesting stuff. Anyway, that's the 90s sitcom starter set, 90 episodes, 35 hours. You'd have to be insane. But anyway, good stuff.
Good for a party, I guess. All right, and we're going to wrap the show out with a couple from Cohen, who now, of course, has their own channel on Amazon Channels. And the first one is one of the all-time great French movies ever made. It is Jacques Rivette's La Belle Noiseuse, which is maybe the best film about the relationship between artist and subject ever made. This is an amazing, amazing film. It is 4 hours long. I repeat, it is 4 hours long. It has an intermission. And
why do you need an intermission when we have a pause button? Do we really need an intermission?
You kind of do. You just put yourself at the mercy of the movie. Anyway, Emmanuelle Béart plays a woman who poses nude for a painter played by Michel Piccoli, and it is about what he struggles with to get the art right, and how she struggles to be able to be the perfect subject. It's just an amazing movie, and it's riveting for 4 hours. And I know that sounds like really a 4-hour French movie about a guy painting a nude woman. I don't know if I can. You can handle it. It's amazing. It is just a beautiful, beautiful film. And Jacques Rivette, one of the legendary figures of the French New Wave, it's far and away his best film. This is just a wonderful movie. It is gorgeous on Blu-ray. It is an essential to have. It has a great commentary by Richard Sushensky, who talks for 4 hours, man. I've done commentaries. We've all done commentaries. Guys, 4 hours.
By himself?
By himself.
Oh, wow.
You've got to be prepared.
You got to be on your.
You can't ad-lib 4 hours.
No. He is so on his game. There's an interview with Jacques Rivette. Thank goodness they got that. And then an interview with the co-writers. It is tremendous.
The thing about that movie, 1991 film, if that movie were made by an American director or remade or whatever, it would be about sex.
Yeah.
This
isn't.
It's not about art. Sex. It's about art. But the naked girl would make it about sex in America. It's the thing that we keep coming back to on the show. It's this very distinctive sort of way that we engage in being. I mean, am I wrong, Mark?
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know, that film, by the way, you know, if you look at something like Blue is the Warmest Color, how that was received differently in Europe than it was here. Yeah. You know, because we have a huge hang-up about sex here. Yeah. In Europe, they have no hang-up about sex.
Well, the Puritans left Europe and came here.
What are you trying to say, Wade?
I'm just trying to say we're a country founded by Puritans.
It's true.
It's still part of the culture.
Yeah. We're obsessed with it, though. In an odd sort of way. I mean, if you think about it, the sort of commercials that play on television here, and I know we're finishing up the show and all that kind of stuff. They don't need to do that.
The more those taboos exist in a society, the more that it is titillating to the society. Look, you hear about this in Saudi Arabia where they can go to movies now. So they're showing wrestling on some like live screen at a theater somewhere in Saudi Arabia. And they accidentally included women wrestling, which is against the law in Saudi Arabia still, and they had to turn it off real quickly. But before they turned it off, the crowd went wild.
Yeah.
The crowd went wild. Can you imagine a bunch of Saudi men going, yes, with women wrestling?
Wow. Man.
Tells you a lot. Yeah. Last film here that we're going to go out on is The Insult, which was Oscar-nominated Lebanese film. By the director of The Attack, Ziad Douairi. An amazing movie about it's called, you know, it's about a man who insults another man. There's a whole Palestinian-Lebanese issue that emerges from this, and it goes to court, and it's a tremendous film. What's missing from this movie is an absolutely outstanding audio commentary featuring me and Douairi talking. We recorded the commentary. I don't know why it's not here. I suspect it may be because he got a little bit political in some of the things he was talking about the boycott and divestment movement that had targeted him when he made the attack in Israel. Very interesting comments. But I will not share any of it until I know what actually happened to the original commentary.
Yeah.
So, anyway, The Insult on Blu-ray, Oscar nominee this last year. Tremendous Lebanese film. You have to see. It's beautifully written, amazingly well directed. And it does include some conversations with Ziad. So with that, we're done. We'll be back next week.
But will I be back next week?
Oh, I don't know.